Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsea. If you like this video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up or commenting below. If you want to see more of my videos, press the subscribe button and then click on the bell for notifications. If you need any Stampin' Up! Product to make this card, you can visit my online store and the link is in the description box below. So today we're going to be creating this fun card. We're going to be using some fun gold foil paper and then some watercoloring to create some interest and color within that gold foil paper. So the gold foil paper comes pre-cut. It's called Forever Gold Specialty Designer Series paper, and you get 3 sheets of each design. So the first design has these ferns and leaves and shapes. And then the second sheet gives you some background images. And like I said, you're going to get 3 sheets of this in one package. So we're going to be using this leaf and fern image to create our card today. So some of the other things we're going to need to make our card, we've got a piece of soft Sea Foam Cardstock, and that's just cut to a regular card base size, which is 5.5 inches by 8.5 and then scored at 4 1/4. We also have a card front, and this is just cut just slightly larger than the gold foil sheet we're going to be using. And the dimensions for that are 3.5 by 5 inches. Then we're going to need some scrap paper. So this one is Mossy Meadow, and then we have some basic black. And we're going to be cutting out our greeting with that. And we're going to cut it 2 times we're going to cut it once from each color and then stack them, and that's going to create kind of a shadow effect for our die cut greeting. So we will also be using some of the Forever Greenery Trim Combo Pack ribbon. We have about 2.5 inches of the waffle weave and then about 14 inches of the gold twine. So our first step is to glue the gold foil sheet to the soft Sea Foam Cardstock. And because there's such little details in here, I'm going to show you a little trick that I like to do. I'm going to take some liquid glue and just make a pile of it on some scrap paper. I've got a paintbrush. Paint this glue randomly all over. It doesn't need to be on every piece. It just needs to have a little bit on the edges, a little in the middle, and just enough so that it can apply and stay to that cardstock. And I'm not really painting it, I'm more just dabbing it onto the back of this die cut sheet. Okay, I'm just kind of getting some of those larger areas. So you're going to grab your cardstock and your gold foil sheet and just lay it in the center and then press down. So it's important when you're doing the glue to make sure you don't get too much glue on the gold part. So you want your gold foil sheet not to move when you're adding the glue, or you're going to get some of that glue on top and then it will be sticky and it won't be shiny, like I have gotten a little bit here down at the bottom. So if you're going to get some of that glue on your gold foil, you can just take a soft rag and some rubbing alcohol and place a little bit on your rag, and then you can just rub over those areas and just pick up that glue. It's a water soluble glue, and so I think that's why this works, is it just kind of removes a little bit of that glue that has come off, and the alcohol will dry quickly so your paper won't stay wet too long. Kind of will just brighten it up and make it nice and shiny. So there you go. You can see how that looks. It's really pretty with that light color behind it. And so now what we're going to do is add some color in those leaves to provide some more interest and texture. So the colors I've used are Garden Green and Pear Pizzazz. And you'll notice that I've done the darker green in these leaves that have a little more veining, and then the Pear Pizzazz is in just the individual leaves there. I've added some dark and light colors for each one of those. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that. I've got a water painter here. Let's go ahead and start with the Garden Green. You're just going to press the ink pad together so that you can get some ink in the lid. And you can add more water by squeezing the bladder. It just has a little bit of water in there to lighten up that color. You may want to grab another piece of scrap paper just to kind of put it underneath your project. All right, so let's just go ahead and start. And what you're doing is you're just adding that color in those areas that you want the color. Okay, so you can see I've just got one solid color there. I'm just going to go ahead and continue and do that on all these leaves. And then I'll come back and add some darker color in those leaves as well. Okay, so you can see I've done the first step, and I've got a light color of green in each one of those leaves. So now I'm going to go back, pick up a little more ink, and just add some more ink to those leaves. And I'm going to kind of focus to just the inside area. Just to kind of give a little more interest and detail along that inside of each one of those leaves. Okay, so you can see how that really makes those leaves pop a lot more than just having just the plain color in there. Now if you want to blend that a little bit, so like this one it's a little bit strong, it maybe could use a little blending. Just get some water or lighter green color and just kind of blend some of that dark green into the light color a little bit. Okay, so the Garden Green ink is done. So on your scrap paper, you're just going to squeeze and let the water run out of the paintbrush until it runs clear. And then do the same thing with the Pear Pizzazz. I've got some ink in the lid. I'm going to add some water, and then we're just going to go ahead and fill in each one of these leaves that are open. And then once I've done one plant, I'm going to pick up just some ink and come in and do a little darker color down near the base of that leaf. Okay, so you can see that I've got a lighter color and then a darker color, and I can even come in afterwards and do a darker color, a darker version of that color if I want. So let's move to the next one. Okay, so now the light color and the dark color leaves are filled in. I think I'm going to go back and just add a little darker green just to kind of some of the base of some of these leaves in here, just to give it a little more depth. And you can notice that I haven't been too exact with my painting. I've kind of, some of them got a little carried away, and I did come out of the lines a little bit. And that is up to you how detailed you want to be for this card. If you want it to have more of a painterly look and not worry about that too much, or if you want to make sure that you stay inside those lines, it is totally up to you.
And you'll notice I'm just putting it right there at the base of those leaves.
Okay. All right, so I think my watercoloring is done. I'm gonna go ahead and close the ink and clean off my brush. I do want to kind of bring out that gold again. So I'm gonna grab my towel, and it has a little bit of that, what is it? Rubbing alcohol. And I'm just rubbing that over the gold foil. And what this is gonna do is just remove any color that might have gotten on top of that gold foil. And it's just going to help brighten it up so that it's not dull for any reason. Okay, so now it's ready to add to my card base. I'm going to be using some dimensionals, and I'm just going to place it right in the center. So nice and even on top and bottom, and then on left and right. I'm now going to cut out my greeting with the Mossy Meadow and Basic Black, and I'm just using Thanks. And this die cut comes from the Well Written Framelit dies, and there's just a bunch of really great greetings, and so I wanted to just use the Thanks to keep it nice and simple. So I'm going to go ahead and run to my die cutting machine, and I will be right back. So I've cut those out, and so now I'm going to go ahead and place them together. So I've got that sheet that has the glue on it from before, and I'm just going to add some glue to the back of the Mossy Meadow, just doing the exact same technique that I did. And I like to use, oh, this is really sticky. I like to use liquid glue when lining up die cuts like this. It just gives me a little more mobility. And I'm gonna grab my pickup tool to help me pick that up. I'm gonna move this off to the side so I don't get glue everywhere. And then I'm gonna line it up. So my pickup tool is holding it mostly. And then I'm placing that Mossy Meadow on top of the black. And that's just gonna give me a slight shadow effect, especially if you were to look at it from the side. And I'm just kind of moving it. That's kind of why I like that liquid glue, because I'm able to move it around a little bit before it dries completely. So there I've got my Thanks with Mossy Meadow on top and the Basic Black on the bottom. And the last thing we need to do is just add our ribbons. So I'm going to apply the weave ribbon with some adhesive on the back. Let's just use some liquid adhesive again. So that's just gonna go right here. I'm just gonna place a little thin little strip. And since we have it, might as well use that paintbrush to kind of dab it out, and then place the waffle ribbon right over that. And it's about an inch or so off from the base, maybe a little bit more. Then I'm going to take my 14 inches of twine, and I'm just going to tie a nice big bow. So this twine will unravel very easily, And so what I've done on the ends is I've just tied a little knot to kind of keep that from happening. So you don't need a lot. We might have done a little much when we did 14 inches. I usually can tie a bow with 8 inches. So I'm going to go ahead, measure 8, and then tie a knot there at 8 inches. So I'm just holding on to that loop so that I know where it will end up. So that's about 8 inches. Then I'm going to tie one more knot, and that will just be above it so that I don't get any unraveling on either side. I'm going to take that and cut. So I have a knot here and a knot here, and I'm going to cut right between those two, and then it won't unravel all the way. So now I've got my 8 inches, and I think I can do a pretty decent bow with that. And then I've got a couple inches left over for maybe another project. Okay, nice tight bow. I'm just going to go ahead and place that over my ribbon. So the bow for this card I actually placed underneath the weave ribbon. And so for this one, I could probably pull that up just a little bit. And just slide that underneath. It's kind of already sticky. And then I can just place that back. Having that weave ribbon open up a little bit is fine. We kind of want a distressed look on our card. And then again, we're just going to add thanks right over that. And I'm just going to use that same technique to get some glue on the back of this die cut. Now, if you have any of the adhesive sheets that Stampin' Up! Sells, or you want to get those, that's another really good option for adding die cut images to your cards. Just picking it up again with my pickup tool and then laying it down over that ribbon, just like that. Okay, so this card really doesn't need much else because it has all that beautiful shiny element from the foil. We have some fun watercoloring on the inside, and then the simple sentiment of thanks. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, like, and share. Visit creativechelsea.com for a free tutorial of this project and to purchase the supplies needed. Have a creative day. Bye.